those that preach the loudest have the most to hide. Every single time. When you see someone out there preaching about being better and how everyone else is terrible and how they are there to fix the world's problems, you can almost guarantee that that person has the most to hide because it's called projection. We always call this out. I never get tired of being proven right, and I get proven right a lot. And it's not because I am someone special. I'm simply someone with a working brain and the slightest bit of common sense, because that's all it takes to notice these people, because these people are pathetic. It's not real life. These people are always projecting on social media, trying to pretend that they are something they are not. And every time they make these accusations, telling you that the whole world is terrible and we have to fix it, they are the ones that are terrible, but they want to cover that fact up. It happens over and over again. My beef is never with anyone that disagrees with me just to disagree. My beef is never with someone that has a different opinion, a different political opinion, or anything like that. You can have whatever opinions you want. My beef is with people that always try to shame others for their opinions, and I love using their logic on them. And I love to see people get mad when I use that leftist logic, because whenever you get mad when I use leftist logic, all you're doing is proving me right. So continue to get mad, continue to be angry at me, because all you're doing is proving me right, and it is a beautiful thing. This Alec Baldwin situation, people are like, Jeremy, I can't believe you're doing this. I can't believe you are calling him out for tweets when there's a horrific situation. If you can show me where you tried to call Alec Baldwin out when he was doing it, then you can show me the consistency. But I know for a fact that the people that are upset with me for what I'm doing to Alec Baldwin by holding him accountable for his words and his actions when other people were in terrible situations, and Alec Baldwin was never worried about, man, this is not the right time to talk about political nonsense right now. There's a tragedy at hand. Alec Baldwin didn't have that sympathy for others in these situations. But now suddenly now, people are supposed to have respect for Alec Baldwin. You make the rules, leftists, and I will follow them and use your logic against you every single time. Now let's talk about Ashley Marie Preston. Resurfaced tweets reveal Netflix walkout organizer Ashley Marie Preston's own history of anti-LGBTQ plus comments. Wow. The person out there preaching, telling everyone else they're terrible, is actually a terrible person. It happens every single time. Following the release of Dave Chappelle's new Netflix special, The Closer, the LGBTQ plus community took offense at his jokes about transgender individuals, accused him of transphobia, and even organized a walkout to protest both the streaming giant and the comedian himself. The person behind the Netflix walkout in support of the individuals who felt attacked by Chappelle was transgender activist Ashley Marie Preston, and recently unearthed tweets suggest that the organizer is nothing more than a pandering hypocrite, because they always are, every single time. It's a beautiful thing to watch. A beautiful thing. Thanks to a series of tweets originally compiled by Twitter user @MachineIV, brought to widespread attention by independent video creator and journalist Matt ORFALE. I retweeted him earlier. We have solid evidence of Preston throwing around homophobic and racial slurs on social media. And here are some of the comments. And boy, are they beautiful, because it exposes this person as a lying, pandering, hypocritical piece of trash. And this is the guy I retweeted earlier. I retweeted Matt's. He's got a great video where she is preaching, and I can't play the video because he put her on blast, and it was beautiful to watch. Right here, let's look at some of these tweets right here. So there's a tweet. Pretty interesting things that you are saying. Aren't you an ally? Aren't you an advocate? Aren't you trying to make everyone better by all of these terrible, terrible words that are being said? Look at this right here. Just trashing all over Asians. What happened to stop Asian hate? Huh? What happened to stop Asian hate? Look at some of the language that this person is using. All of these things are completely unacceptable by 2021 standards. And why? Because people like this have been pushing this narrative that words are harmful and we have to control speech. The speech we want to control, that is, because anybody out there that says they're for free speech, and then they want to say, well, that type of speech, yes, if you are targeting people with threats of violence, if you're doxing people, obviously there's tangible things to point to. But if you're just saying mean words to people, who defines what's a mean word and what isn't? You can define what a threat is, or you can define what puts a child in danger. But who defines what a mean word is? You can't define it. Because once you start opening that up, it's an endless rabbit hole of nonsense. Who defines that? And then we've got, this woman is telling us Bernie hasn't been to an LGBT event since the 70s. This is her effing decade. And then look at the language. This is from 2011. Right here. More language that you can't use on YouTube. Woo! This is your advocate right here. See, what we always see, and we just saw this from, we see this from both the right and the left, by the way, okay? The left is worse, but the right does it too. They'll just rally around whoever's pushing their message and not care about any context whatsoever, or not even who they are. We just saw it with the Dave Chappelle thing with Vito, and I love what Vito did with the sign, and he was definitely done wrong. He was done wrong by the media. At least the mainstream media. He was done wrong by the mainstream media. They lied about what happened. But this is what we know that the media does. This is what we know. But Vito is also the person that flags YouTube videos because in his opinion, they have hate speech. But he also says he's for free speech. But he flags YouTube videos that have hate speech according to him. And then the right's just rallying around this guy, have no idea who they're rallying around. They're just like, oh, that guy has a sign, and that guy got a sign taken from him. He's a hero. Literally, people on the right called him a hero. So the right's just as bad as the left. And I give him credit. I give him a ton of credit for exposing the right to be just as bad as the left, just not as ridiculous and over the top as the left. But they'll cling on to whoever they can if they can push a narrative around it. And that's what happened with this Ashley Marie Preston, because the left-wingers are far worse about it. And the media is there to prop these people up. And big tech is there to prop these people up. And Hollywood's there to prop these people up. So that's why the left is far worse, because they have far more influence and they have far better structure than the right does. Because they have big tech, they have Hollywood, they have the mainstream media. And they're always propping these people up and propping this nonsense up. It's ridiculous. But again, it just goes back to those that preach the loudest have the most to hide. That is what it's all about. When you see these people preaching and telling you that the world is a terrible place and the people in it are terrible and we have to be better and we have to fix all of these problems, you know that they have something to hide. That's what it comes down to. You are a flawed individual if you're watching this. I am a flawed individual. Every single person is a flawed individual. Anyone that's trying to tell you that we are all so much better than the world we're in, while they're sitting there with their iPhone and their verified check mark on Twitter and driving around in expensive cars and living in big mansions and telling you how terrible the world is. People like LeBron James, who's telling you that the United States of America is such a terrible place. LeBron James, the most prominent athlete in the United States of America. A man who, if he's not worth $1 billion, he will be worth $1 billion very soon. And he's here to tell you that the United States of America is a terrible place because he is there to project while he's sitting there with armed security guards surrounding him at all times, while he makes up fake hate crimes and the media doesn't even hold him accountable for it. Look it up over on Outkick the Coverage if you don't believe me. LeBron James and his team made up a fake hate crime about something that happened to his residence in Los Angeles. The media jumped on it the moment it seemed like something really happened, and then it was clear that there was no evidence that it ever happened. And the media just swept it under the rug and never wanted to talk about it again. But LeBron James will tell you how terrible, terrible the United States of America is. We are all flawed people. We are all flawed in some way, shape, or form. But when you are lying and projecting and you're trying to make everyone else think that you are the great savior of humanity and all of these other people are terrible, you know that the person that's doing that should never be trusted. You guys have a great day. Thank you very much for checking out this video. Solo lost money. Raylos are weird. Let's go, Brandon, and we will talk to you later.